this microwaves and antennas. Micro transmission line is the unit module 1 here. So while giving the introduction of transmission line, we know that the transmission line is a connector which transmits energy from one point to the another point. A study of transmission line theory is helpful in the effective usage of power and equipment. So at high frequencies, the wavelength is much smaller than the circuit size, resulting in different phases at different locations in the circuit. A quasi-static circuit theory cannot be applied. We need to use transmission line theory. One of the main reasons of using transmission line is to reduce the power loss in transmission lines, which is dissipated as heat due to the resistance of the conductor. High voltage transmission lines are used to transmit electric power over a long distance. So when the period of transmitted voltage or current signal greatly exceeds the propagation time of a transmission line, the line is considered electrically short. The wavelength is calculated using the formula lambda is equal to V by F, where lambda is the wavelength and V is the propagation velocity and F is the signal frequency. And in the transmission line, we are using the four primary constant, that is R, L, G and C, where R is the resistor, L in the inductance, G is the conductance, and L is the inductance, G is the conductance, C is the capacitor. Four primary constant we are using in the transmission line diagram. So for finding the transmission efficiency, the transmission efficiency is defined as the ratio of the power received over a transmission path to the power transmitted. So once again I will tell the ratio of the power received over a transmission path to the power transmitted. Also the ratio of the output power to the input power of a circuit or a device. As we know that the transmission line will have two parts, one is at the sending end, another one is receiving end, and sometimes the receiving end is terminated by a load impedance. Sometimes we'll call one end as generator end, another end is load end. So most of the commonly used conductor material for overhead transmission line are copper, aluminium, steel cord, aluminium, galvanized steel and cadmium copper. The conductor used for overhead transmission lines are usually standard in order to increase the flexibility and to cope up with the skin effect. The AC transmission lines transmit the alternating current over a long distance. So as we know that we have two kinds of transmission, that is AC transmission and DC transmission. So AC transmission line transmit the alternating current over a long distance. So if we use an AC transmission line for a long distance, we can transmit the current. Whereas DC transmission line is used for transmitting DC over a long distance, only DC over a long distance. The AC transmission line uses three conductors for long power transmission. The typical voltage for the long distance transmission are in the range of 155,000 to 765,000 volts in order to reduce line losses. A typical maximum transmission distance is about 300 miles or 483 km. High voltage transmission lines. Transmission lines are the set of wires. So as we know the transmission line to pass current that it is a set of wires called as conductor that carry electric power from generating plants to the substation that deliver power to the customer. So we know that from electric power it is supplied from the generation station to the substation, from that it is delivered to the customers. At numerous substations on the transmission system, transformers step down the power to a lower voltage and deliver it to the distribution lines. So here common types of transmission lines are coaxial line, two-wire line, parallel plate line, microstrip line and a waveguide. So now we will continue the module 1. In that, one more part is microwave tubes. For extremely high frequency applications, that is above 1 GHz, the inter-electrode capacitance and transit time delays of standard electron tube construction become prohibitive. However, there it seems to be no need to the creative ways in which tubes may be constructed, and several high frequency electron tube designs have been made to overcome these challenges. It was discovered in 1939 that a triode cavity made of conductive material called a cavity resonator surrounding an electron beam of oscillating intensity could extract power from the beam without actually intercepting the beam itself. The oscillating electric and magnetic field associated with the beam echoed inside the cavity in a manner similar to the sounds of traveling automobile echoing in a roadside canyon, allowing radio frequency energy to be transmitted from beam to a waveguide or coaxial cable connected to the resonator with the coupling loop. So in this next topic is reflex Klystron oscillator. You can see here the diagram of reflex Klystron oscillator. It consisting of electron gun, anode cavity, RF out, coaxial loop, repeller space, repeller electrode, VA and VR. The electron gun emits the electron beam which passes through the gap in the anode cavity. These electrons travel through the repeller electrode, which is at a high negative potential. Due to the high negative field, the electron repel back to the anode cavity. In their return journey, the electron give more energy to the gap and these oscillations are sustained. The construction details you can see in the diagram. It is assumed that oscillation already exists in the tube and they are sustained by its operation. The electron while passing through the anode cavity gains some velocity. So while coming for the mechanism of oscillation, here we are considering three electrons. The operation of reflex Klystron is understood by some assumptions. The electron beam is accelerated towards the anode cavity. Let us assume a reference electron ER. So first electron we are taking it as ER, crosses the anode cavity but has no extra velocity and it repels back after reaching the repeller electrode with the same velocity. So another electron, let us say EE, which has started earlier than its reference electron, reaches the repeller first but returns slowly, reaching at the same time as the reference electron. We have another electron, that is late electron, we'll take it as EL. We start later than both the electrons, that is both the electrons. However, it moves with a greater velocity while returning back, reaching the same time as ER and EE. Now these three electrons, namely ER, EE and EL, reach the gap at the same time, forming an electron bunch. The travel time is called this travel time is called as transit time, which should be have an optimum value. So in the figure you can see the three electron EE, ER and ER, but it will reach, the traveling time will be different but will reach the electron bunch at the same time. So the optimum transit time is represented as optimum transmission time is represented as T is equal to N plus 3/4, where T is equal to N plus 3/4. This transit time depends on the repeller and the anode. This transit time depends on the repeller and the anode voltages. So now coming up across the mode of oscillations, the electron should return after 1 into 1 3/4, 2 3/4 or 3 3/4 cycles, most optimum departure time. So if T is the time period at the resonant frequency, 2 is the time, T naught is the time taken by the reference electron to travel in the repelled space between entering the repelled space and returning to the cavity at positive peak voltage on the formation of the bunch. So where T naught is equal to N plus 3/4 into T is equal to N into T, where N is equal to N plus 3/4, where N is 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. N is the mode of oscillation. The mode of oscillation is named as N is equal to 3/4 and 1 3/4, 2 3/4, etc. For modes N is equal to 0, 1, 2 respectively. Next we'll coming across the mode curve. Since the output power and the frequency can be electronically controlled by varying the repeller voltage. Expansion for this parameter in terms of repeller voltage are very important to draw the curves. So PRF is equal to PRF is equal to 0.3986 V naught I naught V naught plus VR square root of E by 2m V naught divided by 2 into F into L. So here this figure shows the mode curve. So we can see in the figure mode is 1 3 by 4, and second one is 2 3 by 4, and third one is 3 3 by 4. So in the axis y axis we can see power output in milliwatts and resonant frequency of cavity. So center point of the mode, and you can see in the three diagrams, and we can see the varying resonant frequency. So it electronic tuning range is one, for it is 10 megahertz, and second one it is 20 megahertz, and third one is 30 megahertz. So in the x axis we are taking the ripple voltage. So this is electronic tuning and output mode power of a reflexed klystron. So in the microwave transmission line, the microwave tubes is the second part. In this one full question will be covered in university exam.